As moms, sometimes it feels like the walls are closing in and the calendar is overflowing. Carpool, groceries, practice, appointments. The list goes on and on. Wouldn't it be great if you could simplify your life, relieve your stress, and restore your joy? First, we're going to talk about how to shake off some of the excess, and then I'll share some tips for feeling less overwhelmed. So, one of the ways to make your mom life a little lighter is to shed some stuff. Owning things isn't bad, but we have to be honest about the fact that the more we own, the more we're required to maintain. So maybe the 4-bedroom home with the pool is tough to clean and expensive to heat and cool. So downsizing could be an option. Maybe the import car that has to get service out of town is really impractical. So in that case, trading cars may be the answer. Think about what you have that costs more to keep than you expected and consider selling those things. At some point, the cost of ownership is too much, and you would ultimately be happier with less stuff. You also want to take a long look at the calendar. A great deal of the pressure that modern families feel each day is a product of overcommitment. If your family's calendar looks like a New York train schedule, it's probably time to prioritize based on your core values and family goals, and lose the things that don't directly help you meet them. If spiritual growth, for instance, is a major family value, then church activities would rise to the top of the scheduling priority. Some social events may be low on the list during this busy season of life and may need to fall off the calendar entirely some weeks. Just because something is good doesn't mean it's the best use of your time right now. And to put those boundaries in place, you need to learn to say no. Easier said than done. As moms, you are constantly doing things, right? And your reward for being so productive is that people constantly ask you to chair a committee or help plan the school or church event. This is another one of those areas where your core values need to drive the prioritization, and a realistic understanding of your limitations needs to set the boundaries. You can't do it all, and if you try, you probably won't do it all well. So choose your volunteer commitment carefully and do a great job with joy on fewer things. Let me know in the comments those things that you feel are the hardest to say no to. Now, once you trim down your calendar, you can simplify your life and raise your sanity level more by clearing the clutter in your home. A clean closet lets you see the clothes you're actually going to wear, and well-organized kitchen cabinets make meal prep and cleanup easier. Dump some junk you never use and edit your household items to make the everyday tasks simpler. Also, a few things can simplify your life, relieve your stress, and restore your joy more, like getting a grip on your money. So it's beneficial to clean up your finances. Sure, it takes a little bit of effort at first to get organized and disciplined, but the payoff is huge. Download some money management software and straighten out that budget. Before we get to what I think is the best way to live a happier, more simple life as a mom, here are a couple of really practical things you can do to de-stress. The first one is unplug. Whether you realize it or not, your media consumption creates a lot of that noise in your brain. When we're constantly flooded with information and advertising, it becomes harder to organize our thoughts and priorities and focus on what matters. So spend less time plugged into the digital world and more time plugged into the real one. On that note, you want to get back to basics. Build time in your life for slowing down. Take a walk after dinner, work in a flower bed, or do something simple and soothing with your hands, like crocheting. It's good for the soul and brings those stress levels down. No power cord required. Finally, stop trying to live up to an impossible ideal. I think this is the best way to live a happier, more simple life as a mom. Let's be honest, the do-it-all myth is burning moms out. This intensive parenting culture puts pressure on us to constantly stimulate our children, enrich their talents, and avoid boredom at all costs. We're told in not so many words, if you don't maximize their potential, then you're failing them. It's become the default expectation thanks to competitive school admissions, even for preschool, the fear of falling behind socially, academically, or developmentally, and social media. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok amplify unrealistic parenting standards. Even relatable parenting accounts often still show cute messes, edited chaos, and pain and punchline neatly tied up. We get the message. You're not just raising kids, you're raising aesthetic content. So instead of scheduling every hour, try building in white space or boredom time for your kids. Instead of fixing every conflict immediately between your children, let kids resolve and also learn from small problems with each other. Stop trying to optimize every moment of your children's lives and focus instead on connecting with them during more normal, real moments. Also, don't constantly turn to your Instagram or Facebook feed for input. Trust your own instincts and values more. If this resonates, share it with a fellow mom who needs a little permission to exhale. And tell me in the comments, what pressure are you letting go of today? Thanks so much for watching, and remember, you are not just a mom.